Belinda and Harper Audio Australia present this unabridged recording of Man in Armour, written by Siobhan Mckenna and read by Laurence Boxhall. For James, who has enabled me to live a whole life. For our sons, William, Jack, and Henry, particularly Jack, who unfailingly encouraged me to write. Chapter 1. The deal had stalled. All the work streams had been on track when Charles left the office just before midnight. There was only the usual mopping up to do before the formal signing and market announcement in the morning. But now, somehow, at 4 a.m., the deal was in disarray. Charles flung terse, white-vapoured comments into the phone. His body urged to shiver, but he subdued it. It was his body, and it would damn well do as he instructed. He clambered into the black cab outside his silent house. David's panicked voice was in his ear, apologizing, explaining, apologizing, suggesting, apologizing, apologizing. It was a big deal, for everyone, for Mining Co., for Oil Co., for the plethora of advisors. It represented 2 years of Charles's life. What the hell had gone wrong? Charles asked David a question, waited while the phone was passed to a lawyer. Charles asked David another question, repeated it once the phone was passed to a fearful accountant. Charles had been manoeuvring Oil Co. and Mining Co. to consummate this deal for years, playing both chief executives, wooing both chairmen, and a year ago he had managed to kickstart the negotiations in earnest. Since then, Charles had been implacable, no matter the obstruction. Mining Co. didn't have sufficient balance sheet capacity. He assisted them to tap new funds. The EU signalled regulatory pushback. Charles crafted new undertakings to give reassurance that Mining Co. would play nicely. Oil Co.'s unions dissented. Charles interceded and had Mining Co. commit to fund retraining programs for redundant workers. The boards of Mining Co. and Oil Co. started squabbling over the spoils. He arbitrated. It had been a year of endless encouraging of executives, endless leaking to the media, endless pushing of advisors, endless reassuring of the boards, endless shoving. And now it had stalled. Both the Mining Co. and Oil Co. finance directors were raising their voices, not only at their advisors, but also at each other. Both chief executives had been called in at 2 a.m., and the tone had deteriorated post their arrival. Opposing lawyers were at 20 paces, brandishing continuous disclosure obligations. The recriminations had started, so Charles was called. Charles interrupted David's agonizing. Separate them, before it gets worse. There'll be 50 or 60 of us here, David said anxiously. Get Barnaby and Emery into separate rooms, and separate the teams too. I'll deal with it when I get there. Charles hung up and flicked through the incoming emails from an awakening Asia. 8 from Japan alone. The more he gave, the more they wanted. He closed his eyes and eased his head back on the seat. He never stayed anywhere long enough to get jet lag. He was just gut-wrenchingly tired. Usually, right now, he'd be gliding powerfully through the streets to a deal that wouldn't get done without him, to chief executives who would look to him for guidance, to money that would bend to his will. But he wasn't. He was cold, bitterly so. He had already given this deal its due, more than its due. But the deal had...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?